Boys and girls, today we are going to learn our very first lesson from code.org called Happy Maps. And when we do our code.org lessons, we are going to learn to become computer programmers. Computer programmers do things like program a robot and create video games. So to introduce this lesson is somebody who you are very familiar with. Here's Chunky.
It's Chunky, Mrs. Audrey's cat again. I've come today to help you learn how to, drumroll please, program a robot. First, you need to learn a very important word. That word is algorithm. Say it with me. Algorithm. Now let's say it slowly. Algorithm. Algorithm. It means a list of steps that you can follow to finish a task. Say it again. Algorithm. Algorithm means the list of steps that you can follow to finish a task. If you learn my fancy word, you will get to play a game called Programmers and Robots. I just know you will be perfectly great programmers. What was my word again? Tell your partner.
So boys and girls, Chunky's word algorithm means the list of steps that you can follow to finish a task. And a task is a job or something that needs to be done. For example, if my task was to draw a smiley face on the whiteboard, you could tell me the algorithm or the list of steps to finish that task. So you might say, Mrs. Autry, first, you need to walk to the whiteboard. Next, you need to pick up a marker. After that, you should take off the lid. Then you need to draw a circle. Next, you need 2 dots for eyes. And last, you need an upside down curved line for a smiley face. And that is the algorithm or the list of steps that I would need to follow to complete the task of drawing a smiley face. Boys and girls, we are going to learn to become computer programmers and program to create video games, and computer programmers also program robots. And so when you think about robots, what is a question that you have about a robot? Your question must start with one of these words, with either what or how or why. For example, what does it take to program a robot? Or how can I make my robot move? Or why is that robot going forward instead of backward? So think about a question that begins with a word, either what, how, or why. Think about your question, think, and teach. Class. Boys and girls, some of the questions that I heard when you were talking to each other is, what is a robot? And how can I program a robot? And so I have written those questions on the whiteboard, and we will be talking about them as we are doing our code.org lessons. And as you have more questions, we will add to our list. Let's go back to that word, algorithm. Can you say it again? Algorithm. Next, I'm showing you some sign language gestures that you can use to help remember the definition or the meaning of that Chunky's fancy word, algorithm.
An algorithm is a list of steps to follow to finish a task. An algorithm is a list of steps to follow to finish a task. An algorithm is a list of steps to follow to finish a task.
So now you say it. What is the meaning of algorithm? Say algorithm. Algorithm. What does algorithm mean? Think and teach.
I am a left and right robot. I am a robot. I know my left and right. Let me go and show you. I'm quite a sight. I'm shaking my left hand. Now I'll switch my hands. I'm shaking my right hand. Shaking to the band. I am a robot. I know my left and right. Let me go and show you. I'm quite a sight. I'm tapping my left foot. Now I'll switch my feet. I'm tapping my right foot. Tapping to the beat. I am a robot. I know my left and right. Let me go and show you. I'm quite a sight. I'm wiggling my left ear. Now I'll switch my ears. I'm wiggling my right ear. Last time, oh dear. I am a robot. I know my left and right. Let me go and show you. I'm quite a sight. Put your left hand in the air. Now wave it. I said wave it. Put your right hand in the air. Now wave it. I said wave it. Put your left hand in the air. Fist pump it. Fist pump it. Put your right hand in the air. Fist pump it. Fist pump it. I am a robot. I know my left and right. Let me go and show you. I'm quite a sight.
Boys and girls, we will need to learn our left and right when we are doing our programming. Those are very important words when we're giving directions. So now you are going to play a game with your partner. It's called Happy Maps. Say Happy Maps. So each pair, each two partners will have a map, and you're each going to have an arrow. And what you're going to do is you're going to help our little friend Flurb to get to the fruit. You see, Flurb loves to eat fruit, and your job as a programmer is to help Flurb get to the fruit. You have to point the arrow in the direction that he needs to go to eat the fruit. Now, if you and your partner have arrows facing different directions, you're going to need to talk about why you think your arrow is facing the right direction. And we're going to do that in a respectful way, and we are going to use the because clapper to justify our answers. So for example, you see here is our first happy map. and we want to help Flurb get to the apple so he can be happy. So I am going to place my arrow facing one direction, and my partner will decide which way Flurb needs to go to get that apple. And if we disagree, we are going to use our words and discuss why we think it is our way is correct. So go ahead and play this game with your partner using the because clapper when you disagree. Go ahead. So boys and girls, here are here are examples of the happy maps. And when you get to your tablet, you're going to do this independently, and instead of moving the arrow, you are going to circle the arrow that gets Flurb to his fruit. And so in this case, you see that Flurb is under the apple. So I would need to find, I'm going to choose a red marker. I have my pen selected. I'm going to choose a red marker to circle the up arrow because Flurb is below the arrow and he needs to go up to get to the apple. Now, after you have circled this on your tablet, you need to be sure to press send, which is down in the bottom right corner in a blue rectangle. S-E-N-D, send, send. So that way it gives Mrs. Autry your answers, and I'm going to see if you're correct. Now he's going to eat strawberries. Oh my goodness, Flurb loves strawberries. I think I'll choose green because green is my favorite color. And Flurb is above the strawberries, so I'm going to need to choose the down arrow to make him go down to get to the strawberry. And I need to make sure I press send so that work is turned in. That's how you turn in your work to me on Nearpod. Next, Flurb is to the left of the banana, and so I'm going to select my yellow marker to choose the right arrow to make Flurb go to the right. Don't forget to press send. And last, Flurb's going to have some pineapple. He's going to be so full of fruit. And I'm going to choose a blue marker this time because pineapples grow near the ocean that is blue. And this time I need a left arrow to make Flurb go to the left. Don't forget to press send. So now I would like to see who knows our fancy word, Chunky's fancy word, algorithm, and what it means. And if you do, you're going to get to play our game, Robots and Programmers. And the rules of the game are this. There will be two people playing. One person is the robot and the other is the programmer. And I know you will use your best manners to decide who gets to do which job. And the programmer gives the robots an algorithm to follow, but the programmer must say please because that's just good manners. So another rule that I have is that the number of things that the programmer tells the robot to do must be 5 or fewer. So you cannot say jump up and down 6 times or 10 times. That's too many. You can say walk 3 steps forward, please, or jump up and down 5 times, please. Or turn in 4 circles, please. And as long as the programmer has used the word please, the robot needs to follow the algorithm. Now you can get more complicated and say, first, walk forward 2 steps. Next, hop up and down 3 times, please. And that's even more fun. After you're done, then you're going to switch roles and the other person gets to be the programmer and the robot. You will switch roles. So I want you also to think about when you're done, which was harder? Was it giving the algorithm or following it? So next you will play programmers and robots. But first you must tell me what our fancy word is and what it means. Now, boys and girls, at the end of our lesson, we always have to reflect, and I want you now to think about what we learned today. Did you feel like you were actually telling the Flurb what to do? What would it be like to control a robot that way? What would you create if it were that easy to tell a computer what to do? And that's the end of our Happy Maps lesson. Next week, we will have another code.org lesson. Keep practicing our new fancy word, algorithm, and we'll see you next time.